KC9VKV.
We used to make them when I worked at Dollar Jarvis. We used to cast them, and then by the time I left there, they weren't casting them anymore. They were making them out of sheet metal. But go ahead there, VKV.
Well, what is that kind of floor?
Floating floor.
That's right. What is a floating floor?
A floating floor is a removal. It's a floor that's raised up off of the concrete floor with tracks underneath of it to run cabling through, primarily computer cabling and electrical wires.
Oh, Roger. So instead of troughs, you can have the whole floor to run under.
Right. You can move any 2-foot square block of flooring and put, like they made different adapters and stuff for it, where you could make a electrical outlet come up out of the floor anywhere you needed it, or a network cable come out of the floor anywhere you needed it. All that space under there too was also a plenum for the air conditioning and heating. Yeah, a lot of time the HVAC blew through under there too.
Roger, Roger. So you could actually easily reconfigure a control room or something like that.
Right. We made two sizes, Steve, 18-inch and 24-inch. Some were tiled, some were carpeted. And all that I ever was around was the 2-foot square tile. It was none of it was ever carpeted that we ever fooled with. What we did was all government stuff. Yeah, so somewhere they had a gizmo with 3 or 4 suction cups on. That's how you lifted the panels off the floor. Yep, you plunked her down on the floor and give her a heave-ho and jerked the towel up out of there and set her off to the side, and then when you were done, you squeezed this handle that made it let loose and plunked the thing back in the hole.
So when you walked across it, could you feel it giving at all?
No, it does not give at all. Very stiff. It was about 2 inches thick, but it wasn't solid 2 inches. It had a bunch of ribbing to it.
Roger, Roger. Well, the ribbing probably made it stronger than if it was solid.
Well, the thing of it is, if you think of the flooring as you would a suspended ceiling, it was the same kind of grid work on the floor that you would have on the ceiling, like you would for ceiling tiles. That'd be the same kind of grid work on the floor, but it was just, it would have little jacks and stuff on it to level it all up so that it would make that false floor, a raised floor, perfectly level.
Roger, and a lot heavier metal on the flanges that held the stuff in place, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it used all thread, and you could adjust the height, and there'd be, most of them would be where 4 tiles came together, so it'd be, 4 of them would sit down in a little groove. I think, some places I worked, all the server rooms would be like that, but there was certain areas called SCIFs, which were, SCIF stands for Secured Compartmental Informational Facility. They were rooms that were basically secure rooms that classified work was done in. The whole room would have a floor like that in it.
Now, did they have specified cable runs underneath that, or did they just go from point A to point B?
They were specified cable runs inside of it. You had to go from a certain, there would be like drawings. At least at our place, there would be cable trays underneath of there laying on the concrete that you still ran the cable in to keep it from getting like a spider web under there.
Yeah, that would be me. I'm good for that stuff. Give me, give me something like that, man. I would have so many cables running all different ways.
A lot of them are like that. That was up to the user. Yeah, in our place, we had to have every cable had to be labeled. It had to be drawn out where it went to and from, what it connected to and from, everything.
Now, Steve, in your daily toil back when you worked for the Alphabet Soup guys, did you have any radios in your bailiwick, or was it just computers?
We did have a few radios, but they mainly were military type gear that communicated with computers.
KC9VKV.
They were military type secure radio frequencies that would transmit computer traffic from one place to another. Or I even worked with satellite transmissions. We did a lot of beam it up, beam it down kind of crap. Good morning, Joe.
How are you, Steve?
Oh, okay, I guess.
Booming in here at 40 over.
So did you do much video, Steve, or was it mainly audio stuff, or alphanumeric, or what?
It was pretty much all just data, and then we did some secure voice stuff where you would have to have a key and a card and a secure pin and all this crap to be able to talk on the phone and crap like that.
Ciphers.
Yeah, I've worked with ciphers a lot.
Well, how many years did you toil in places like that?
20.
My. Well, then, for that many years, you were one of them, weren't you?
I worked in the intelligence arena my whole career.
Steve knows 42 ways to kill you.
I have 43 if you count that one special one.
Oh yeah, but you couldn't tell me that, or you had to kill me.
Exactly. Hi, Joe.
Hey Gary, how are you? And the other gentleman, I know we've spoken. What's your name there?
This is Jim down towards Louisville. Joe, where are you?
Oh, that's right, Jim. It's Joe, Juliet Oscar Echo in St. Louis, KE0KZI.
Roger, Joe. I don't usually go west, but good morning to you.
Morning. You are booming in here as well. You're all, just incredible signals tonight.
My stuff is set up east and west. I mean to go north and south. Just bug Steve.
And Joe's our special case. He comes in here from the west all the time.
Well, he's sounding good in Louisville.
Yeah, usually with a very good signal, and he has a very good one this morning again.
I'm running a kilowatt, and I'm on the old Kenwood TS820. I put some new caps in it, in part of it, and aligned it yesterday, and it's running real nicely.
30 over here, Toledo.
Yeah, you look like you're peaking 40 over, Gary, but I don't have this S-meter totally properly calibrated. I just kind of calibrated it off the ICOM 7300, so it's kind of rough right now.
Joe, I know you're looking at it, but What would happen if you brought your audio up a couple of notches here, just out of curiosity?
Up higher? Well, I can turn the mic gain up like this. Is that better?
Let me listen to you for a minute.
All right, here I am. The mic gain's at about 12 o'clock. It looks like I'm putting out peaks of 1166 watts out of this AL80B that's only supposed to do 1,000. How's this sounding?
Sounds much better to me. Steve, what do you think?
He sounds good to me. It's definitely working. There's no doubt.
It's also possible I'm slightly off frequency just because, this old rig does drift a tiny bit. It's usually pretty stable, but it's only accurate to 100 hertz, so I have to kind of tweak it. But you guys sound good, and usually when you sound proper, then I sound proper coming back.
Roger, John, know what it is? It's your average percentage of modulation. You're hitting some good peaks there, but then as you continue to talk, your level's kind of down like this, Not sure, just average peak modulation is might be hotter, or could be hotter.
Well, that could be that maybe I have some trouble with my finals in this. I don't think so. I do know that the final caps need to be changed, so it could be that. I do not have any compression turned on right now either.
Roger, no, everything's fine. Just the average. How difficult is it to try to run just a very, very slight bit of limiting or compression? Just out of curiosity.
Well, limiting. I mean, I could turn down the ALC limit on the amp. You mean that, or you mean turn the compression on? Because here, I'll show you compression. This is no compression. That's as low as the compression goes right there, which, if I recall, is still pretty high. How's that sound?
Well, there's some shift in audio quality when you went into compression. Do you have any other effect on there? Do you have multiple effects on your one line?
No, that's it. It's a rig from 1978 I'm on with the mic here, and I don't have any EQ in there or anything. I can turn down the ALC to get it to activate on the amp, like hello, hello, hello. Now it's doing a little ALC, but usually that actually distorts. How's that?
Oh man, you came up like gangbusters, and no distortion that I can hear.
It sounded better when I turned down the ALC limit.
Well, you came up. Now it could have been a condition, so come back again in that configuration. Let me hear it.
Okay, well this is with the ALC turned down, so essentially it's going into ALC, so in theory it ought to be turning the rig down on peaks, and this is with it higher up, so the ALC isn't really activating. How does that sound?
I got some conditions playing around right now, so it's impossible to tell, Roger.
Yep, I suppose so. This rig, like I say, I need to change the caps for the finals, so it's possible that the finals kind of fade as I talk a little bit. I don't really see that on the meter necessarily, but it wouldn't surprise me.
No, everything's fine. It's just your average peak. If you, how are you looking at your waveform?
Well, I'm not actually currently looking at the waveform. I'm just looking at the LP100 watt meter. I could plug it into scope and take a look at it.
Roger, that sounds fine right there. I mean, your audio's up and sounds like Steve right now.
Oh, good. Well, part of it is that sometimes I turn my head away from the microphone here, and this is a desk mic. So if I turn my head slightly like that, I'm sure it gets quite weak. But if I face it here, it's probably much better.
Roger, what kind of mic is that?
You guys got a one-call guy breaking you.
Go ahead, station.
Yes, it's Kilo Bravo 1, Quebec Yankee Hotel.
So Bravo 1, Quebec Yankee Hotel, go ahead.
All right, yeah, I was just scanning here, and I stopped on this frequency, heard you talking about your ALC, and so my name here is Jay, Juliet Alpha Yankee, and I'm in North Carolina, and to me, you
Didn't quite copy that, Jay. Something about the ALC. I'm better with it on or off?
You're better with it off. You're better with the ALC turned down. ALC turned down. Over.
Are you saying the way I am now or the way I was when I was testing it? Sorry.
Well, I don't know how you are now. I mean, you sound okay now, but when you were testing it, you were louder with it turned down. Over.
Okay. Well, here, I'll turn it down until I start seeing some ALC. There's some ALC deflection. Is that better?
WWA down at 230. W8DW.
KC9VKV.
KE0KZI.
There was another station in there, but I think you turned it on and your signal went down. Whatever you did right now, your signal went down. Over.
I'm sorry, you said my signal went down?
You're correct. QSL.
All right. I think it's best actually with the ALC pretty much off, kind of like this, right?
Yeah, that was great right there. I think what he might have heard was some atmospheric changes. That with it all was the best you've sounded, Joe.
Okay. Well, I think I'll just keep it off. I mean, if I want, I can turn the mic gain up a tiny bit more if you think it'll help.
Try it, see where it goes. I'm all for experimenting.
All right, there's some more mic gain. Now, I'm not looking at my waveform, so I have no idea if this is starting to clip or anything. Is this sounding better or worse?
Sounded better. Sounded fuller.
All right, well, we'll try it there for now. This is KE0KZI. I'll throw it back to this KB1QYH. Can any of the rest of you hear him?
I got him.
Yeah, it works. It sounds just fine to me.
Yep, sounds good. You sound good. I did not get the call sign, but the call sign here is Kilo Bravo 1, Quebec Yankee Hotel. The name is J, Juliet Alpha Yankee, and the QTH here is just south of Raleigh, North Carolina. We're just south of Raleigh, North Carolina. QSL?
QSL. Yeah, you're much closer to all the other people on the channel here. Most of them are quite close. West Virginia, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky is a little bit closer, not a ton. He's pretty close to me. Back to you.
All right, very good. All right, well, yeah, just wanted to, woke up here for a quick glass of water. I wanted to see what was on the bands. I made a quick QSO with England on 40, and came down here and just wanted to see what was going on. But I'm going to get back to bed now. I got a early work day in the morning, so we're going to get some more sleep for a couple hours. But nice hearing you, and good test with your radio. I hope everything is working okay with the radio. So back to you for a final, and this is KB1QIH, and I'll be clear.
All right, Jay. Well, thanks for coming in and giving me a signal report and saying hi to everybody. And you have a good night. 7-3. This is KE0KZI, St. Louis.
Joe, you might look at your watt meter and see what you're doing now, and that's the way I would run it there.
All right, I'm taking a look now. Peaks are still right around 1100 or thereabouts. It just depends on the syllable, of course. Let me check the average. Average, hello, is more like, 200-300, but it's single sideband, so that's to be expected.
Roger.
That old radio's got some pretty good punch to it. Nice and loud on it.
Oh, good. Hey, if you want to have a lot of fun, I'll switch over to the 7300. I've got it all set up here with a switch to go back and forth, and another switch that switches my listening audio, my ALC, and my relay all to the amp.
There's I think a lot of folks that don't run actually ALC on their PA, their amp, output amp.
I don't run it on on my amp. I run the ALC on my radio. I set everything where I run right up against it, just where it blinks, and let it go at that. Mine just has a light. I just let it talk in a certain peak words, blink it, let it go at that.
Yeah, Roger.
Pretty much just leave the ALC set up so that it can function, but I don't necessarily always use it.
Holy smoke, you went from blasting in here to I can barely hear you.
Sorry about that. My gain was turned down on the 7300. So this is on the 7300, by the way, now. Still going through the amp, but it's the ICOM 7300.
So look at your wattage output there. Do you see a difference?
It actually reads a teeny bit lower on the peaks, probably because this one only puts out pretty much 100 watts, and the TSA-20 on the peaks will go a little bit more, like 125 or something. So I'm reading 921 or thereabouts on peaks here.
All right, just out of curiosity, switch back. You're switching radios, Roger?
Roger, switching radios completely.
All right, switch back to the other radio.
Okay, this is the TS-820, and it is putting out more power. I'm putting out peaks is about 11 or almost 1200 here.
I think you sound a lot better on that one than the other one.
Yeah, you're not going to like what I have to tell you there.
Go ahead, redouble, Steve. Go ahead.
I said he's not going to like what I have to tell him there. The Kenwood sounds better. I'm sorry.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. You know, it's from 1978. Of course it sounds better. No, it's, first off, it's analog. You know, there's none of this digital garbage. And it's a tube final. You know, I mean, tubes sound great, but it's also louder. And in my experience as an audiophile, you will always think that whatever sounds louder sounds better. I mean, that is across the board a standard. So maybe if I turn this one down a little bit, which I can't do properly, the proper way to do it is to feed a little extra ALC voltage back to it. But I'll turn the mic gain down, and then I'll switch back.
Oh, just leave the Kenwood the way it is. It sounds good. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ICOM sounds okay, but I just like the warmness of that Kenwood.
I'm confused now.
He switched, Steve, and you started talking. He was on the other radio at the same time.
No, that's okay. Here I'm on the 7300. I was on the Kenwood, but I'm on the 7300. Maybe the mic gain needs to come up on the 7300, but it just doesn't want to put out any more than this. I mean, I'm giving her all she's got, and once I increase compression like this, will increase, you know, the overall average, but that's got to sound like crap.
Yeah, I think what's happening now is conditions are starting to play with it.
The audio envelope sounds a bit fuller, though, with the Kenwood. Yeah, I need to hook up my old Swan 350 one night and let you hear the tube audio of that bad boy.
Yeah, I bet that sounds good. Part of it could be that I'm using the ham mic here on the 7300, and that nice MC50 desk mic on the Kenwood. So if I had the same mic that I could also switch, that would be a different story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that old Kenwood sounds good for what it is. It really has a nice warm sound to it.
Well, glad to hear it. I'm back on it here, and you know, I'm having a ton of fun with this thing. I paid about $400 for it delivered, which honestly is a little much. You know, compared to, you'll hear about guys that get them for $50 someplace. But I couldn't find one for less than that, and it was in reasonably decent shape. I fixed a bunch of things on it, and I tuned it up, and that made a big difference, both in transmission power and the receive.
I think QTH had two of them. One guy had two of them for about 500.
Two for 500 for the pair?
Yeah, 265 for one, or 500 for both, I think.
Well, that'd be nice. But let's see, what did I pay? I paid. Well, it was $325 plus the shipping. It was ended up being like $375, I think.
Yeah, it's still a good deal.
Well, considering the 7300 was like $1,400, you know, it's not a bad deal to be able to get so much out of this. Now, I'm planning on attaching it to a computer as well to get it, you know, to have like a PAN adapter. I thought that would be fun. But you have to make a modification. Apparently, by default, the IF out goes through the single sideband filter, so you only see a really narrow range of the band. And there's a way to tap into a much wider range of the band by changing the IF out to a different board. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got all my Kenwoods tapped so I can use them as PAN adapters. I still have yet to hook any of them up with the PAN adapter, but they all have the capability. I've got 4 or 5 radios sitting here with the capability of running a PAN adapter on the computer, and I don't have any of them hooked up yet.
Well, I got to say, that's a really nice thing about the 7300 is it has the USB, so you can just connect it right to your computer and use it for all the digital modes with no signal link or anything like that. That's pretty slick. I don't think I would use this Kenwood for digital modes. I would use the 7300. I've got a circuit I started building based on something I found online to essentially build a signal link type device with some audio, 600 ohm isolation transformers.
Well,
And junk like that. It's pretty easy to do, but I never finish it.
W8DDW.
KC9VKV.
Like my 10-Tech Eagle, it has a special cord came with it. You just plug it into the USB on the computer, and it'll do all the digital modes right out of the box that way with just the software, and then you can actually download a piece of software that it'll allow you to control the radio, but it doesn't actually do a PAN adapter. That was before the days of PAN adapters, just before actually with that one. But now my Omni 7, I can control it remotely and all that crap if I want to hook it to the network, because it actually has an Ethernet port in the back of it, plus a USB, plus I have a PAN adapter for it too, that just plugs right in. I've never plugged it in, but it just plugs in, and you have to do a little quick realignment deal and set a couple parameters, and boom, away you go. But and both these 480s, I had to add buffer boards too to get them to do the dongle thing, and then my little Yaesu 857, all I had to do to it was just hook the dongle to the IF, and away it was ready to rock and roll with the PAN adapter deal.
So you have one of those HF compatible dongles and the RTL SDR?
I have a whole bag full of them laying here on the floor. I bought them off of eBay for like $3 and something a piece.
Oh, wow. Oh, I haven't seen them that cheap, but I've got an older RTL SDR before they went down to HF. So if I want to use that, I had to build a mixer circuit, but I think I would just buy a new one, honestly.
Mine will do everything on all those radios. Now on the 857 Delta, it'll do UHF, VHF, and all HF as well.
Gotta jump out of here, Steve. You guys, catch you later. It's KC9VKV.
Hey, good hearing you, Jim. Don't be a stranger, man. It's been a while since you've been in here and said hey to us. Come on back around a little more often, and keep us in the loop with what you've been into. I've been working on a bunch of DX lately. Friday night I worked 27 more countries.
Roger. Just finished wrapping up on the DBX noise reduction. It's posted on, if you go to KC9VKV on a YouTube search, it's final test on DBX noise reduction, and it's outstanding, man. It's just so quiet, it's eerie.
Cool. All right. Well, like I said, good hearing you, and hopefully before too many more months, we can try some of this VHF stuff out. I'm slowly gaining forward on that stuff, and I've been to the doctor, and I go tomorrow for another test. It looks like they're going to do back surgery on me here in the not too distant future. So if I don't get the antennas up before surgery rolls around, then it's going to be a while, because I'm going to have some fairly extensive back surgery done. They're going to have to replace L4, L5, and probably S1. And I'm not sure what all else they're going to have to do. I'll find out some more tomorrow, actually.
Roger, Roger. Well, I hope it all goes well for you, and when you do get all that together, give me a shout. We'll get together and do some VHF looking there. Roger, Roger.
Yeah, man, I'll be blasting 1,000 watts at your butt.
All right. Threes to everybody. Catch you later. It's KC9VKV, Claire.
All right, man. Have a good morning.
7-3, nice to hear from you again. Thanks for the info and the help. KE0KZI.
Roger, Roger.